MENS now, 2018 winner, 5-time stage winner in this race, and it looks to me, Magnus, like maybe Pavel Sivakov is getting a chance to sit on, which makes sense considering how long he was out there.
Yeah, it does make sense. Sivakov's legs are probably feeling it at this point in the race. But yeah, I think it's in Tim Mullen's and Pavel Sivakov's interest to keep working with Van GILS as well. Even if Van GILS was to put a little bit of time in between himself and the two UAE riders, it's not a bad situation to be in after stage one.
This was Maxim Van GILS' first race of last year. Of course, he would have ridden the whole week, but just the time trial for him. And yeah, just going to watch the body language as Tim Wellens comes through for Maxim Van GILS, by the looks of it, happy to slot in second wheel, understanding that Pavel Sivakov is resting on the back. Andreas Leknesson doing a really good job of hanging on to the back of this Tom Pidcock-led group, Maggie, too.
Yeah, he is. And there's a bigger group coming behind us as well. I think there's actually a group that has grown somewhat. So there will be some more riders keen to ride, no doubt. But you just want to make sure that you don't let a UAE rider get onto the front of this group here now and sort of just slow it down a little bit. And I think that was actually the group behind further back. It looked like Nairo Quintana was in that.
Did it? Right, okay. So they might be Group 3 on the road as we look at them. Here it is again. Marcus Hulgaard is there, the Norwegian champion. He's his spot. And yeah, I think you're right. I think Nairo Quintana third from back there, Maggie, as we look at them. Now, where is Enric Mas? I don't think I saw Enric Mas in there. I've not seen him. He used to be their leader. No, we saw him have was that a bike change? We saw him having a problem, didn't we? That's not a good sign.
And right as it was kicking off as well, so it is possible that Enric Mas wasn't back in or in a position where he could respond, and it's been somewhat left behind at that particular point in the race.
It looked like Tobias Johannesson was in there as well for Uno X Mobility, who have multiple options today. By the looks of it, they brought a really strong team to this race. They also have Adne Holter, the 24-year-old Norwegian. I haven't seen him yet, but he was climbing particularly well in the Alula Tour a couple of weeks ago, so we'll keep an eye out for Holter, who finished on the podium behind Pidcock on that occasion. This is Clement Berthet who's leading this little group here at the moment, or is it? No, sorry, it's Jordan Labros.
Yep. This is Group 3 on the road then.
Yep, there they are. Two decathlon riders in there, Berthet and Labros. They've had a good start to this race as well. On the back of that group, was that Soler on the back of that group? We're losing touch with who's in which group at the moment. We've got effectively 4 groups and then a chasing group behind them as well. This is the head of the race, that you can be certain of. Andreas Leknesson no longer with these leaders. Maxim Van GILS being sat on at the moment a little bit by the two UAE Team Emirates XRG riders. And Pidcock chasing again. He's doing a lot of work, Magnus, on this opening stage and wanting to lead on the descents understandably, but not all the descents are as steep maybe as he'd like, so he's pressing on in between to hold his position before the next few corners where he feels he can make an advantage, and that all takes energy, I guess.
It definitely does. We're about to get to the more difficult. Van GILS just missing the apex of that corner. You'll see here.
Let's have a look at it.
It's coming in a bit hot on that one, and good job.
Yeah. Thankfully, he's just locked up a little bit and got himself back on. But, well, do the two UAE boys now hit it, excuse me, and try and keep him at bay? That would be, well, it wouldn't be great to see, would it? But they might do. Here he is.
Well, unfortunately, it's part of bike racing, these sort of things, and that's why you see quite often that teams are pushing it on the downhill, and if you get it wrong, you get it wrong. It's a part of the racing. But on this descent here now, there are some steeper sections with really some tight turns, so you want to make sure that you know this descent, or at least gone through it on Valview and studied it, so you can kind of try and remember how tight the corners are. Because even from a team car, it's virtually impossible to guide the riders. You can give them certain specific points where you can sort of say, at kilometer 153, there's a section of 2 corners coming up that are really quite difficult and super tight. So pay attention there. But much more you can't actually do from the car at this point to help the riders.
We're watching Maxim Van GILS now trying to get back in touch with Pavel Sivakov and Tim Wellens. They have about 15 seconds of lead over this group, the Marc Soler group, which still has Andreas Leknesson in it, Tom Pidcock, Steph Kras in there too, Temon Berthet. And, to say, Andreas Leknesson doing a really good job hanging on, the Norwegian. That's Group 2 on the road.
I think they need to start really chasing hard here now, because otherwise they're going to get to the bottom of this descent and still have that gap of about 20 seconds. And that will be hard to close in on, certainly on, when we're looking at Van GILS going up the last couple of climbs, he's looking like he's got super legs on, and certainly Wellens and Sivakov are not particularly slow either when it comes to climbing.
No, I think, Magnus, the reason I asked the question about do they hit it or do they pause and wait a little bit was because of a little bit of inkling beef going on between them with Van GILS having a go at them. I just wondered whether maybe, it does look like they've pressed right on, but they have to. It's very near the end of the race now, I guess.
Well, it is the final of the race has started, and at that point you don't wait, you don't think about doing that. It's part, like I said, it's part of the bike race, and it's also, if they start waiting, then they lose time to this group.
So these are about the last 10k. It is the last 10k. A little bit uncertain as to exactly the distance, but I can tell you they are effectively descending for about another 6 kilometres until they reach a bit of parkland on the edge of Niera. They ride through the middle of Niera and out to the Cueva de Niera, the caves to the eastern edge. And we should get some lovely seaside shots as we get down there. At the moment, though, it is all happening at the front of this race. We've got Steph Kras actually distancing a little bit the other 4 in here, including Tom Pidcock, who's been doing this to them the last couple of descents. So Kras looking like he's descending really well as well. This is back to the front, though, and we missed the moment on camera where Van GILS got back up to Sivakov and Wellens. He looks across at them now as they come through.
I don't think he's even worried about that particular thing. It's just get back in there and keep on riding now, because the time gap is from what I've seen, is hovering around that sort of 15 seconds, so they haven't got a lot of time to play with. Playing any games at this point or having words about something is just not possible at this particular moment.
No. Tom Pidcock now goes back to the front of this group of 5 riders now it is, with, understandably, Marc Soler able to sit on the back. He's not going to do anything here, is he, Maggie? With 2 teammates on the road?
He's not, and I think when you were saying about Steph Kras really pushing on, I think actually Leknesson looks like he's the one struggling a little bit on the descent. He's always leaving a bit more of a gap and then struggling to hold the wheel around the corners, and with that, it's actually slowing that group down somewhat on the descent here, and they haven't really got the time to do that at the moment.
Worth me pointing out, there are 6 world teams in this race. The world teams not involved in the front end here, Ineos Grenadiers, who don't really have a kind of top big name favourite really for the race. Brandon Rivera probably being their best climber, Colombian, but they are not involved at the front end of this race at the moment. Jaco Alula is the other team not involved in these front groups, as we watch Maxim Van GILS just stretching things out a little bit in our leading group of 3. But just to update people, Alan Happily, the world cross-country mountain bike champion, the South African for the Australian team, Jaco Alula, he is, I believe, in the 4th group, that Nairo Quintana group, along with Carboni and others as well. So Happily is there. We are reviving that climbing battle this week between the Olympic and the world mountain bike champion between Pidcock and Hathaway. And we'll keep an eye on that the rest of the week. But Hathaway also not involved at the front end of this race at the moment.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see how Hathaway gets on when we get into European roads where you haven't got an awful lot of space. It's far more twisty, technical. I mean, you'd think that he would be capable of that based on his mountain bike skills, but road and mountain bike are two completely different things. Certainly when it comes to the technique on the bike and how you corner, and the positioning as well is coming into play here a lot.
Maggie, as you probably saw, Hathaway, just closing that conversation here, because we're getting very close to the finish now, but Hathaway was caught out in the crosswinds in the Alula Tour as well on that final stage, and the stage before it as well. So maybe the positioning and what have you still coming to him at this point, but certainly climbing-wise, he looked second, only just second best to Tom Pidcock in that race. So we do look forward to seeing him perform this week. But back to the front. We have an opening stage finish, 10-second bonus, 10, 6 and 4 to sort out, 5k to go. The chasing group here with Mark Soler sitting on, he's trying to get Andreas Leknesson to come past him. I think, as you mentioned, Maggie, Leknesson might be on his last legs here, and Soler even forcing him through. 4k to go nearly for our leading three.
It certainly looks like he's both legs and maybe a little bit of skills is starting to, he's starting to suffer Leknesson there, and I'm not surprised either. He's spent an awful long time out probably, but this now as well, I think Van GILS needs to be paying attention to the two UAE riders. They start attacking him here now, and I think Van GILS has got the better of them on the climb. But yeah, you don't want to sort of give yourself that work to do to catch on. But this group, I don't think is getting back in today.
So here we go. I wonder whether we're going to see this at some point. Tim Wellens taking the right-hand way round the roundabout. I was just saying with my mic muted like an amateur, Maggie, Tim Wellens knows how to finish off a bike race. And while we've got Sivakov sitting on the front, it was always going to be that moment where Wellens would hit it. Maybe that was it. Maybe he's just burnt his matches and Maxim Van GILS has got back up to him.
Yeah, and need to keep an eye on Sivakov here as well, because Sivakov, that's exactly it. I was expecting Wellens to maybe block Van GILS in a little bit more, but I think Sivakov is out of legs. He's I don't think he's going to be playing much of a part in the final here.
Final 3 kilometres to go. Apologies for that. I'm losing my voice a little bit on day one, which is never good. That was a nice move by Tim Wellens. I wondered, when we saw Sivakov, as you say, it's very obvious now, he hasn't got much left. Pavel Sivakov is just going to set the pace and wait for Tim Wellens to do it. I think in a straight-up sprint between the two, having seen quite a lot of Maxim Van GILS these last couple of years, I would say he's quicker, but it's going to go probably to the line by the looks of it. He's just gradually rising, Magnus, isn't it?
It is. Well, it's gradually rising in the beginning of this climb, and then it just gets steeper and steeper the closer we get towards the finish. Maybe the last 250 meters or so starts leveling down, but looking at how Tim Wellens is sitting here now, he's going to hit again.
Yeah, in fact, unless we're looking back at a replay, he's doing the same thing at the next roundabout, trying to go hard around the right-hand side. We've got a number of these roundabouts coming in. He's done it again. Maxim Van GILS should have been ready for that, and I don't actually know whether Van GILS saw him go right at that point. It's the second roundabout in a row. And here we go. Sivakov will now go again, surely. Yes, he will. He's ready for it. Here we go. Maxim Van GILS has to know this is going to happen. We are literally working our way through the textbook and how to run up a 2v1 sprint at the moment. Every single move is probably, Magnus, quite predictable. Here we go again. And Van Gils having to cover all of these. This is
he's
good.
too
I
quick.
love this.
Van Gils has got the legs. He's definitely reacting very quickly to any little attack that's coming. And with that, he's just not giving them an option to attack either.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing there, if anything, Tom Pidcock now riding a GC role there for himself, just maintaining the pace, trying to limit the losses to these guys. And he needs to be careful, Van Gils, if he is going to win this.
Yeah, that was, Tim Mullins just kind of closed the door and Van Gils a little bit towards that barrier there, the wooden guardrail. You can see Van Gils is looking like he's in control of the situation.
Yeah, Maxim Van GILS in the middle. Pavel Sivakov once again back on the front, the French rider for UAE Team Emirates, and has teammate Tim Wellens, the winningest rider in this field in terms of the history of this race, the only man who's won it overall before in this race too. This is back to Group 2. Clement Berthet leading now. Tom Pidcock just behind him. Steph Kras there too. Let's go back to the front of the race because we're going to have the first leader's jersey come from this leading group of 3 at the moment. Their gap somewhere in the region of about 35-40 seconds over that group behind them, but they're starting to finesse and mess around. So I think they'll lose a bit of that time while Berthet and the others are going on. And this is the final kilometre. We've got a fascinating finale to work out between these 3 riders. The strongest team in the race, the team who won this race on its last overall edition 2 years ago, when it was Tadej Pogacar who was ripping this field up. We're seeing a similar kind of attacking style of riding from them today too. They've got 2 riders up the leading group. They've got Marc Soler in the chase group behind. And you know, once again, the number 1 team in the world, UAE Team Emirates, are mopping up pretty much everything at this race. But can the Belgian Maxim Van GILS get the spoils at the end of this opening stage? Let's see. What do you reckon, Maggie? Do you want to give me a very, very late prediction? Who's going to win?
Van GILS.
Okie dokie. I find it very hard to disagree with you. He's getting worked over, but he's been man to it so far. He's been able to nullify everything. He's still looking round at Tim Wellens because he knows at some point Wellens going to either have to have a go or at least start his sprint as well. Ooh, fascinating finale as they come into the edge of the caves, Cuevas de Nieria, where we're finishing this opening stage. This is back to Group 3, the Nairo Quintana group on the road. This is Group 2. Tom Pidcock back on the front leading again. We'll probably stop looking at those groups in a minute and focus on this because Pavel Sivakov is still on the front, but only just. Maxim Van GILS, the Belgian, in the middle. And then Tim Wellens, the other Belgian rider, riding for the UAE Team Emirates behind him. This is that rise to the finish line. Now we can see how steep it is as well. It could be, but it just starts to go again and again and again. Tim Wellens going on the right-hand side. Maxim Van GILS in the middle. Don't worry about Pavel Sivakov. He's gone now. Van GILS would normally be the quickest of these 2, but Tim Wellens is a hardy operator. He's got into the wheel shadow of Maxim Van GILS. Van GILS, the Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe rider, looking like he's going to take stage 1, but Wellens is coming at him. It's going to be right on the line. Maxim Van GILS has answered the questions about whether his short time trial win at last year's RUTA del Sol meant that he was the best rider in the race. So far this year, he is the best rider in the race. That was a well-timed sprint, Magnus, and despite looking a bit frustrated with being constantly worked over by those 2, he's taken the win and he'll take the lead too. This is Marc Soler looking to get yet another UAE Team Emirates result today, just ahead of Clement Berthet. Good ride by him and a great ride as well, it has to be